Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 12 of the Roundtable podcast. Today I'm with Shea Hammond. Shea, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Not bad, mate, not bad. How's training going for you then?
It's pretty well, pretty well. I've been doing the boxing now. I've started doing a lot more boxing recently. I was always doing about 3 to 4 days a week of kickboxing and MMA stuff, but then recently I started to incorporate more boxing with my boxing coach, and it just makes you feel like a bit of a spastic, don't it? When
Mate, yeah.
you're doing MMA training, you've got like a weird style because you're doing all of these different martial arts, and then when you start doing specific type of stuff like your boxing and your stances all over the place, your boxing coach don't like it, but then they try and turn you into a boxer almost.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
apart from that, yeah, it's been pretty good, mate. How about you? I know you train quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, my training's been good, mate. I think it's especially what I've been trying to do is like, to be fair, this is actually in your videos where it's like you talk about filming your sparring, getting the footage, and actually like consciously trying to improve. Because I know like I had a while where I was sort of just turning up to training and doing like the drills the coach said, doing the techniques the coach said, and doing the pad work. But like I just actually wasn't getting that much better, and I was like, "What's happening?" But I actually like genuinely started like looking at footage. Okay, and first and foremost, it was humbling because I realized, you know what, this feels like I'm going at 100 mile an hour, but I look like a spastic on the camera. But so it's humbling, but that's also good because it's like, oh well, I'm doing this wrong, I'm doing that wrong. So it's becoming a lot better now, if that makes sense.
That does make sense, and I completely agree. And I think that you're looking at it in a way, you've got to look at your sparring in a critical way. You can't, because a lot of the time people do it for vanity, and you can obviously record your rounds for vanity and just like clip out the bits where you do good. But if you watch your sparring and you're like, actually, I'm really overexerting on my feints here, I'm really overreacting to his feints here, I'm wasting too much energy here, I should have my hands joined together on this takedown here. If you watch your sparring and you know that type of stuff, then it can massively help you. But if you are doing the group classes, because I'm a one-to-one coach myself, right? If I'm doing the group classes, the coach doesn't have time to go around to everyone and fucking go and see if everyone's doing it perfectly. So they might have done, I don't know, 500 reps of kicks wrong. And then it's so much harder to show somebody how to do it from scratch compared to if they've already learned Taekwondo teeps versus the Muay Thai teep, and you're trying to show them the Muay Thai teep, you know? So yeah, it's pretty easy to get into bad habit cycles early. But then if you're recording it and it's a bad gym culture, all of the old school gym owners, they've got a bit of a weird thing going on about recording in the gym, and which
Yeah.
I kind of understand at the same time, because you don't want it just getting posted everywhere, which is fair enough. But if you are watching it for yourself and it's your education and you don't post it, then I don't really see what the problem is. In fact, because when we went sparring, I bought something very similar to what you did. You've seen these TikTok things that you get, like
Oh
these,
yeah. I've seen like the gym ones. Yeah.
probably the worst example ever, but it obviously does it to magnets and stuff, right? This is a lighter,
Ah.
you know what I mean? But yeah,
Yeah.
anything fits to anything that's, magnetic. But yeah.
Well, does it fit to a cage then?
Good question. I know for a fact that we've got heavy bags at our gym. Anything that's like metal, that like if you've got screws in it and stuff, it will stick to it, you know?
Yeah.
But
That's fucking handy because I guess it can be a bit intimidating. I mean, like my coach is always fine with it, and to be honest, I think the kind of era of like old school gyms and stuff like that, obviously it's still there in some pockets, but I think it's like I think you see a lot of gyms kind of getting on the content and kind of seeing that's where you get clients from now. So it's like, and the filming thing, obviously there is a sake of that, there is like a bit of vanity to it, and some people are like ego. And actually, one thing I really hate though is like you see like professional fighters, you know, when they like leak sparring footage or something of like someone getting dropped or stuff like that. Like, have you ever experienced that or anything like that? Because I think that's a bad thing.
no, no. I remember once I went to BST, and then it wasn't like a social media thing, but sometimes people like, I don't know. No, I've never had anything social media happen to me like that before. No, and I've never had anybody complain about it, because if you're a dickhead and you just don't tell them that you're filming, then I think that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
If you're just sort of recording and you're not telling them. But I think if you say to them in a polite and nice way, like, "Oh yeah, I just want to improve my technique, and I just want to see, I want to watch it back after. I'll send you the video as well. Is it cool if I record?" You know, I think that's all right. But I think if you're just doing it without any any permission or anything. I
So
mean,
it's like
that's a bit
sneaking up
different.
there, yeah. Getting one of the changing rooms whilst you're at it as well. May as well.
No, that's never happened to me though. To answer your
No, yeah.
question, it's never happened.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. No, that is good. To be fair, that is good. But it's interesting. So you've had 10 amateur MMA fights, right? So I mean, like a lot of lads will say, you know what, I want to have a bit of fun. I'll play a bit of football, right? A bit of tennis, right? Well, pick like say a normal hobby, but you decided, you know what, fuck it, let's do cage fighting. What?
Yeah.
What? Why?
Well, I'll tell you what. So I did actually play football for a decade as well. So I played football from the age of 4 up until I was about 15, I'd say. No, I think probably 14 or 15, one of them two. And I started off, I was really just as obsessed as I am now with fucking MMA. I was with football. So when I wasn't playing football, I was outside doing keepy uppies. I was watching Ronaldo step over compilations and shit like that, right? I was probably just as obsessed as I am now with MMA. I was back then with football. And then it got to the point where, obviously, because I was so obsessed with it doing all the time, I was starting every single game. And then about 14, 15, I reckon everyone in the school must have hit puberty then, and I didn't, right? So started losing every shoulder barge, started losing every challenge, started losing every header, right? So I started to get benched. And then the 3 people on the bench were, there was this lad called Zach, who I love to bits, and he was just the class clown in school, and he was also in the football team. He was decent, very athletic. The other person was this girl called Belle, and she was a Coventry City academy player, but in the most respect possible, like she was nowhere near good enough to start the team. She was good, don't get me wrong. But then it was me on the bench. So it was like, oh shit, man, I'm hating this. I used to start every single game. I used to love football. And then I got to the point where I was like, all right, I'll start looking for an individual sport. So I actually tried out table tennis for a little bit. And then I was like, you know what, table tennis, I'm getting a bit chunky from doing this. It's not quite the same as football. Do you know what I mean? I was like eating the same sort of food because I've always been pretty lean. And then after that, I went with my mate Harry to boxing. And my mate Harry, I wouldn't go unless I was basically holding his hand because I was so scared to go on my own. So I went with him, don't know, for about 4 weeks in a row, probably like 2-3 times a week. And then after that, Harry just stopped coming, basically. I stayed consistent. I got addicted to it. And before that as well, my stepdad was already really into martial arts. He was really into, I mean, maybe if I was on my phone, I'd show you there's like different types of pictures of different types of UFC fighters in here. So my first ever fight I ever watched was Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holm. So that was like the era. I was from the Ronda Rousey era. That's when I first started watching it. And I remember my mum and my stepdad and everyone going, "Oh, you got to watch out for this Ronda Rousey. She's a killer. Like, I reckon she beat up Mayweather in a boxing match, right?" And it was those types of talks. That's what people were talking about back then. And then I was like, okay, shit, all right, I'll stay up till 3 a.m. I'll have myself a little monster to stay up, mum, if you want. And then I'll watch the fight. Watched it, obviously Holly Holm head kicked the shit out of her, right? And then since then, I was just obsessed with it, watching it all the time. Went to boxing, and then Harry had that phase where he just stopped coming as often. And then I finally grew the balls to just sort of go on my own. And then when I was there, I sort of, made some friendships with people there because I went out my comfort zone. I met some different people, got to know the coaches really well. I was basically in like the brotherhood of the gym. I knew all the inside jokes. I knew everyone's mum is this. Do you know what I mean? Like all of that type of shit. And then before you knew it, it was probably about 3 months of boxing consistently. And then it was straight into kickboxing added on top. And then a month after that, I was doing jiu-jitsu. And then after that, I was doing full-time MMA, 6 days a week, 3 hours a day, most days, from the age of 14 up until, I'd say probably like, what's it called in college? How old would we be if we were in our first year of like grammar school?
I think, well, in college, as in like sixth form college, I think,
Sixth form.
well, first year, you'd be 17, 18, I think. I think that's
Yeah, so up until I was 18, I was just a saint. That's all I did. I just fucking went to school. and then I just fucking did my MMA, and then I was experimenting with all these bullshit diets along the way, like
Yeah.
not eating the proper way and everything. And then, yeah, I probably started fighting by the time I think I was 15 or 16 when I had my first ever fight. So, yeah, I was having to deal with the eating disorders and all of that type of shit along that. I was pretty deep into it, I'd say, when I made some friends in the martial arts gym, because you're around older people all the time as well. So I was just around disciplined people all the time, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting because you said obviously you're a guy who's had 10 amateur MMA bouts now, and like that is like one of the most terrifying things you can do, stepping into that cage. But you also wouldn't even go into the gym initially without like a friend, as you said, literally hand holding you. So,
Yeah.
how do you go from a person who's literally scared to even walk into the gym in the first place to someone who actually will walk out to the cage?
It's just a shit ton of consistency, because you got to remember, like, the reason why I quit football was because I was the sapling of the football team. Do you know what I mean? I was like the little sapling of the football team, like the one that would get pushed off all the time, all of this type of stuff. So my confidence was already pretty not very high. You know what I mean? And then I'd say it's just consistency. The more you rep out certain techniques, as soon as somebody starts saying stuff to you and you start to realize, like, actually, hang on a minute, I would probably be able to beat the fuck out of you if
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
if
yeah,
you carry on. I think as soon as you get to that point, you're like, okay, fair enough. And you should have seen how cocky I was in my first fight. Like,
yeah,
once you lose, you start to understand, yeah, you can't really just be walking around thinking you're Conor McGregor, really. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, because I used to be a little shit when I had my first ever fight. It wasn't even like a proper MMA fight. It was one of those, you wear shin guards, you're both kiddos, you're both wearing rash guards, you both punch to the body. It was one of them fights, right?
yeah,
And my coach didn't tell me that until the day, by the way, and I was fuming at him. But yeah. And then I just remember when you're doing your medicals and all of that, he was in the line. He was only like 3 spaces in front of me. And I just remember just like walking past him, like with a cheeky grin on my face and just being a cunt to him. Not in like getting in his face and being like all confrontational, but I'd just be a wind up merchant as best
yeah,
I could. Do
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Bit of McGregor action there,
Yeah, kind of. And this was the McGregor era. This was the
yeah,
McGregor era.
yeah,
So yeah. Yeah, and then it takes one loss, and then you realize, like, okay, and I think that's good. I think you need your ego shattering. I think in fighting as well, it's the fastest way you're going to learn as well.
yeah, 100%. I mean, I talked about this with Jack in my last podcast. Interesting because it's like I think you can kind of tell very quickly who's been punched in the face before and who hasn't. Because I think, especially as a young man, you sort of build up this like towering confidence, and you sort of you become delusional almost, and you sort of have this air of invincibility around you. Like, I could take anything. I could have that. Like, I've had that before. But then you say lose a fight, you get punched in the face, and you get humbled really badly, and that ego kind of shatters, and it's very painful at the time. But I think it teaches you a very, very valuable lesson, and I think you can really tell like whether someone's been through that. I find.
100%. And I think it's more on themselves as well. Like, you think it's because as a fighter that's competed, you think it's the end of the world. Like, you think that people remember, that people don't remember. People don't even care, honestly. Like, it's all on yourself but if you go in there and you think that you've put everything into it, and you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, like, I've done everything I can to win, and you lose, like, that's just a better opponent. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just how it is. And you can't really you can't let external shit like that interfere with your mood, because at the end of the day, you can't help it. All you can do is just make sure that you're the best version of yourself going into the cage.
Yeah, that's it, mate. I think it's all about control and like just fair enough worrying about what you control, turning up right, to the sessions, eating right, all that sort of thing. But it's like with fighting, you can be Ilia Topuria against Justin Gaethje, right? There's always a chance Justin Gaethje could land a lucky shot. There's always this air of like chance. So it's like you can't really just like rely, about like judge yourself based on the outcome. But I mean, so you yourself, obviously, when you took like your first loss, how did you actually handle that? How did you get back in the cage? Because a lot of people don't.
It was one of them where, like, as a fighter as well, you've also got to kind of, because I know this sounds so bad, but you see the best fighters in the world, they all have this mindset where they do cope a little bit. They do cope and they do say shit like, you know, when Jamal Hill lost to Pereira, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I was distracted because he did that thing when he like sort of held off the ref." But
Yeah.
even though Jamal Hill threw the first punch, he was distracted, and then he got KO'd,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like Deontay Wilder as well. Like, yeah, any great
Maybe
move.
maybe Jamal Hill's a bad example because he's had a bit of a bad run recently. But if you don't have that deluded mindset, like Sean O'Malley when he fought Chito Vera and he like fucked his foot up and he was like, you know what, yeah, even though he did actually check his low kick, if I didn't have my leg just randomly break, he would have never won. And then since that he had that mindset and he won the belt. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I did used to have that mindset. So my first loss was when I was 17 years old. It was against a guy called Reggie Hingston. And he was at the time, I think he was about 25, 26. And I just had that cope mentality where I was like, and I did feel it. I did genuinely feel the man strength that he had over me. Like it definitely felt like whatever I tried to do didn't seem to work. And I didn't have anywhere near as much skill as I do now, obviously, but there was a lot of bad skill problems on my side. You know, I think you've got to have a little bit of a mix of both personalities. I think you've got to be a bit, yeah, it only happened because of this. I'm still at the top. I can still get to the top if I want. You've got to have a bit of that mindset. And then I think you've also got to have the mindset of like, genuinely though, Shea, you did fuck up here. You should have done this. You probably could have done a bit better here, you know.
Yeah, that's fascinating actually because I that sort of filled a hole in for me because I sort of thought of like well obviously the best mentality is to be as calibrated as possible and as realistic like oh yeah we're good at this but we're shit at this but yeah but then I was like actually looked at some of the top fighters and like yeah like they lose and like your Tyson Furies and like well Deontay Wilder again like walking 40 kilo armor whatever on his workout that was what made him lost whatever he always comes up with these crazy
That's a good
excuses.
one. I forgot
Yeah,
about that one.
yeah, yeah. Do you remember that? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He comes up with some crazy excuses, and it's like it's sort of just like that narcissism of like I'm so good, if I lose, it can't possibly be me. But you kind of right in the fact that they are ultimately at the top, so that delusion does serve them a bit. So you say it is like it's like sort of like if you have that like angel and demon on your shoulder, are the angel being realistic and like oh yeah you could have done better here, but the angel doesn't completely dominate because you also have like well the devil so to speak who's like you are the greatest, it wasn't your fault sort of thing. So you think it's sort of a balance actually helps?
I think so. I think the meta is you've got to have deluded self confidence if you want to make it in this sport. I think if you want to make it in this sport, you need to have deluded self confidence. If you're an amateur, you should be thinking that you can beat UFC fighters. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you want to truly make it to the top, that and it depends on how much you want it, you know. But I think there's definitely something to it. There's definitely something to it because I bet you could be as much as he goes around saying he's all humble and everything. I bet you when he was younger and he was still an amateur, like Sambo world champion, he'd just look at some of these UFC fights and go like, I'd smash that guy. Do you know what I mean? I bet
Yeah,
you he did, even though
yeah,
he's humble.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
you can be humble, but then you can also just have deluded self belief at the same time. I truly think that. But
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, because one guy likes it. I guess some certain people may tip towards like one side of things as opposed to the others. Like obviously Deontay Wilder's going to be more deluded, but say like a guy like Tom Aspinall, he seems very like well calibrated. Like he doesn't really seem like I think yeah he has that like deep self belief, but like it doesn't really border on delusion. Do you think? So do you think it's sort of like a case by case example or?
I think he has true, what's the word, like certainty when he says that, because I truly believe it as well. Like, I
Yeah.
think he is the best heavyweight in the world and he is far superior to everyone, but he still has that deluded self-confidence at the same, because he can get clipped, he can get clipped. And I think you need that because as soon as fighters lose their confidence, it's a whole different thing. Like you see it with like Chuck Liddell at the end of his career. Fucking, I don't know, even Connor, he ain't gonna have the same confidence if he does come back,
Yeah.
And it plays on your performance, it plays on the stuff that you do,
Yeah.
you know.
Like, did you see the Road Tank fight recently of him getting TKO'd?
I haven't actually watched it full back yet. I watched the highlights of it. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I just watched the highlights because yeah, I found that like a really interesting case study because it's like when he got dropped the first couple of times, he was almost just so in denial of it happening. He was just like, I mean, also I know there's some people saying perhaps he like deliberately lost. I don't think he deliberately lost. I know he has the big court case going on at the minute, but yeah, you see like that almost just like he just like didn't even want to believe it to be true, And I think it's yeah, I think that's just like a really interesting case study as well. I guess because he definitely had that air of invincibility, and I think it's gonna be really interesting to see how he comes back from that because now you lost that momentum. There's no wind in your sails. You're not this invincible guy anymore. Like, do you reckon he'll be able to come back?
I think it definitely will play on his mind. I don't think you can walk around like doing that shit that he does anymore. As much, he might still do it. He
Yeah.
is, and you gotta remember before he did, and I forgot what the word for it is in Muay Thai, but his name, like his style of fighting in Muay Thai is power boxer. So his style is he's used to getting in the pocket and like eating headshots and eating elbows to the face, and he's had about I don't know like 300 odd fights now. I should guess. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's probably had more than that, and
Yeah.
he's only 24, 25, something like that. I think he's in his mid 20s definitely.
Yeah.
So. I just think it's fucking crazy. Like, I just don't think he's going to be able to, for another 10 fights, keep doing that. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
And he will get another 10 fights in and he'll do it soon because he's quite active. He'll probably do it in 4 years.
Yeah, yeah. I think that'll be interesting to see anyway. See if he can come back because I think that's really what makes like a fighter really great. Like if you look at GSP, and like I don't know loads about his career to be fair, but I did see a clip and like someone asked him like what was your favorite moment in your fighting career? Was it like say the glorious moment of winning the belt or whatever or getting this like highlight reel knockout? But no, I think I forget who the fight was against, but he got knocked down like badly by someone, and then he actually like came back within the fight, and he said that was his proudest moment because it was like obviously on paper it's
Carlos
a
Condit.
confidence. Yeah, there you go, and it's just like obviously, but it's just facing that darkness and like that knowledge that like you could literally be knocked out in like seconds, but coming back from that, and I think he
Yeah,
did get the KO as well.
I don't know if he finished the fight. I know for
Yeah,
a fact that it was in the later rounds and GSP was molesting him on the ground like he
yeah,
does. Blast double leg, get him in guard, beat him up in guard for about 4 rounds. And then it was a weird left head kick that landed like on the top of his dome. It was like a ducking roundhouse kick. So I think he went cross to the body and then he like stepped round with like a left head kick that caught him. And I think that rocked him, put him on his ass, and then Carlos nearly finished the fight. But I don't think GSP came back and won by finish after that. I
yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah, I think it was decision, but regardless, I mean, I think that's because like say the way I approach fighting. Obviously, I've only been doing Muay Thai for a couple of years and Jiu Jitsu for about one, but like what I want out of it personally is just like personal development because like obviously I want to improve as a fighter, but like I almost use that as like a proxy for improving as a man. So with you like using like say MMA and cage fighting, whatever. Do you see it as just becoming like a better fighter? Or do you see it like as a supplementation into becoming a better man as well?
I'm addicted to fighting and just martial arts in general, and I just love it. Like once you start doing this, you can't go back to doing footy, or you can't go back to doing. For one, it's just not as accessible. Martial arts is an indoor sport that accommodates people that do 9 to 5 jobs, so it's
Yeah.
always on somewhere between 6 and 9 p.m. It's on every day of the week. It's on during the weekends in most gyms as well. You can do it every day basically, and I couldn't imagine life. Do you know what I mean? I'm living my dream life now. The only difference is that I'm not in the country that I'd like to. So the only thing I'm missing is geographical freedom. But when I do get that, I'd live the exact same life I do now. Do you know what I mean? It's just I couldn't live life without it right now. And then it goes hand in hand with the self development because I've noticed that the better I'm doing at martial arts and just my fitness journey in general, the better my business is, the better my relationships are with like my friends and family, the better my just everything really, I'd say.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think what you said specifically about like your dream life is good because you're someone who's like so owns a business, has like income which you make yourself, and you essentially like will do what you want to do every day, and that's like say it's not a luxury in the sense that it's just been gifted to you. It's something you've earned, right? But it's a luxury say a lot of lads would want, and especially given the current like school system in the UK and the well trodden path of like school then office job. And by the way, like all my mates as well, because I basically just I'm at the age where everyone's just come out of uni and stuff. like I've not like encountered really anyone who's like actually happy from their office job. They've all just like kind of like toiled so hard to get this job and they all hate it. So a lot
I
of
used to
lads,
do it.
yeah, did you, mate? Yeah, how did you find it?
Well, it was just cozy, bro. It's just cozy. Like, it's DHL I used to work, right? And it was just a very morning oriented job. So you could pretty much go into work and you didn't even have to be in the office. And this is the main reason why I stayed at that trap for so long, is because you can get your work done in about 2 hours and then you're just spending the rest of your 6 hours pretending you're working. So I just spent them 6 hours towards the end. Obviously, at first, you just watch Netflix and all that shit, right? But then it got to the point where I was just banging out different side hustles. I tried out drop shipping for a little bit. I had a little bit of success with one store. It was in the pet niche, it was. And I sold a few little units of this sprinkler for dogs in Australia. So a few, about 200 quid that month. I spent quite a bit of money on the website as well. So I probably broke about 100 quid. And then majority of the businesses I made doing that shit was just fucking bad. But I was basically always just trying to figure out some sort of side hustle while I was there. And then it got to the point where I pretty much got my boss's trust that much that I could work from home all the time. During COVID, I did as well. And I got into some dodgy things when I was during COVID time. That's how I spent the rest of my time maximizing earning potential, I'll say.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what people will think of that, but and then after that, I started doing one-to-ones when I earned it back from my boss. So I was getting paid from DHL, and then I started building up my clientele list by just sort of bringing my laptop with me. I used to have this Windows PowerShell where you can make it so that the screen is always on and it always says you're active on Teams. So I could just be, I'd literally go to the gym. I was taking the piss with it. I was taking the piss with it, right? I'd even go on walks for like 2 hours and they were ringing me at work and I'd just be answering it on my phone because you could connect it to your phone. So I'd be like, what do you mean? I'm on my computer. What are you on about?
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where my boss was just like, you know what, Shea, you need to pick up some fucking slack. You're coming back into the office. And then by this point, and I didn't make a penny of online income at this point. Maybe I made my first client, but at this point, I probably had about a third of my income from DHL coming in from the one-to-one business. And then I had about maybe 5k of savings or something like that. And then I just remember when he told me to come into the office full time, I literally just said, no, I ain't even going to work my notice period. I'm just going to go, because that is depressing to me. Like that is something I could not live with. I already got a taste of what the life would be like with me doing the one-to-ones during the daytime. And then I was missing out on that pathetic amount, which was probably like just under 2k a month from the DHL. It weren't a lot. And then, I was going from getting that and then whatever I get during the daytime on top of, to then, okay, I'm actually only probably earning about a quarter of what I would get paid from DHL per month. And if that, it was probably more like a fifth. And then when I quit, it was just easy, bro. It was just easy because you've got to fucking make it work. Do you know what I mean? Because if you don't make it work, you used to live a cool life when you had more money, when you were working a shitty job. You've got to make it work. So spent money on a mentor, got a mentor that cost me 3k. His name was Sam. He was from the Netherlands. He lived in Alicante in Spain. So he was living a sick life. I was like, you know what? I want to live the life that he lives. He isn't into MMA. He was more into CrossFit and all of this type of stuff. He did loads of like...
Bit gay, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit gay. And he was into like all the powerlifting and, like all the Olympic lifts and stuff, like the clean and jerk.
Yeah.
He got a really good number in. Yeah, I was with him for a bit and he was a master at teaching online coaches how to get clients. And obviously I'd never done any online coaching. So he taught me everything, man. He taught me how to book calls, how to get leads in the first place, how to actually post content that gets people into your funnel in the first place, how to follow up on leads, how to get them on the sales call, how to make sure they turn up for the sales call, how to make sure you've got a good script and actually close on the sales call, and then ultimately how to run an online coaching business, how to make sure that you're making sure your clients get good results. He taught me pretty much everything, and I paid him off in about 3 months. So I did 1K a month, and I was making about 500 quid. Literally, I was making about 500 quid from the one-to-one business, and I probably built it up to about 750. So I knew I was going to just be skin to myself, skin to myself, skin to myself. And I had a little bit of wiggle room with a spare, you know, but it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot at all. And then, yeah, I made it work, bro. After about 3 months, I paid off my mentor fully. I paid him off early as well. It was scheduled to be 1K a month. I was going to give it to him for 3 months, but paid it off in about 1.5 months. When you've got a mentor there, like just telling you what to do, it's so much easier, so much easier. And then as soon as I left that mentor, as soon as our time had passed, I then just sort of started winging it again, started doing things my own way, started pivoting on the business model, started pivoting on the product itself, started pivoting on the type of content I'd make, you know? And then it got to the point where it was like, I've got this massive jigsaw with loads of random pieces, and it's never going to make a proper plan. It's never going to actually be in a right jigsaw, right? So that's when I started. I'm not sure if you've seen it. I joined loads of different communities on school. Finally got myself back on track again. I've got a whole different strategy now. But yeah, that would have never happened if I didn't quit DHL, honestly. If I was even working part-time, you don't have the spare energy to really do it.
Yeah. Yeah, mate, and it's quite seductive, I think, like the office job, because I had an office job recently until I got fired, as you know. And like it is kind of seductive because it gives you this sense of like identity, and it gives you almost like a sense of like status as well. Like, oh, look, I work an X job and I have a proper job and I'm this. And it's like it's usually just enough. It's sort of that dangerous comfort zone. Because if you hate something, you're going to quit it. That's all right. If you love something, obviously you love something. It's probably the right thing for you. But it's that danger, like amber comfort zone, where it's like it's not quite enough like suffering to cause like dramatic change. And it's just enough. It's just good enough for you to stay in that sort of amber zone, and it's kind of difficult for you to actually, sort of actually take the leap out of that. And especially like you yourself, obviously, you said it like 5K in savings, 500 quid a month. That's not a lot of money, and it can go quickly. But in spite of that, like, and if you told like the average lad on the street this, you spent 3K on a mentor. They would think like, why on earth would you do that? Like, you need all these bills to pay. So it's like, what like kind of led you to take that big leap in spite of the fact of having income?
I suppose it's like if you haven't already got a mentor, the reason why you might want a mentor is probably because you're watching content, and you're probably watching content about people living the life that you want to live, like the online income, the laptop lifestyle. You can get paid while you're at work, but you're getting paid for your clients and you're helping people lifestyle, right? So I was already kind of interested in all of that type of stuff. And then if you're an action taker, you'll take action on it. Do you know what I mean? You'll actually be like, okay, I need help on this. I'm not arrogant. I'm not going to fucking tell my boxing coach that he's telling me the wrong thing. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to just get on with it, and I'm just going to get told what to do because this cunt knows what he's on about. Sorry, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to swear, but
No, but yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So basically, that was it for me. I was just like, why would I waste? Because you're paying for speed. That's what you're paying for when you pay for a mentor. You're paying for those short, what's the word for it, when you do corrections and all of that type of stuff, like fast corrections, fast, you can get
I know
more
what you mean.
action
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Yeah. Because if you do it on your own, you're going to try it and then you're going to wait a week. Okay, maybe it is working, maybe it isn't working. But if you've got a mentor there, like, what the hell are you doing? You need to do this instead. That's probably why you're not getting any leads. Do you know what I mean? Then it's just tremendously easier just to drop the ego and just let somebody else look at it and sort of tell you what to do.
yeah. And that's why like things like say spending time in the gym and the martial arts gym, like a lot of lads don't realize you can literally take like the knowledge of building that skill set and apply it to other fields. And it's like as soon as you walk into the gym, like you messed up so many different things. And like say for example, if you've been to the gym for a few years and you sort of imagine, okay, if I went into the gym and I had the brain I had now, I would have made progress twice as quickly. And that's so is that sort of like the mindset you're having with this, where it's like if you're going into a new field, like say business or a new venture, you are literally like that lad walking into the gym for the first time, or the boxing class like yourself, and who literally is clueless, but you can like shortcut like so many different errors and mistakes just by actually like paying for a better, paying for someone to help you out.
100%, because it's just like it is like university, but way cheaper and way more efficient and way faster. That's what it is. That's what you're paying for. You're like, instead of paying 50K for some bullshit, you have to basically take out a mortgage to pay that shit off, you know? But if you're paying for something that's 3 months long, and by the end of that, you'll have transformation, you'll have the knowledge for the rest of your life, because that's the whole aim of the product, right? So you have the knowledge. You don't have to watch any more YouTube videos. You don't have to go buy any more coaches. You'll just know what to do. That's super valuable, right? And there's also, because you're paying it off faster compared to like a mortgage, like you would for a fucking university, right? Because people are paying that off for like 40 years, like they're paying like 50 quid a week or some bullshit like that, right? But if you pay 1K a month and you see that 1K come out your account every month, it's going to make you want to fucking try, you know? If you've got a road bike that you paid for that cost you 3K and you had to get a finance plan to pay for it, you're going to use it. But if you just didn't, do you know what I mean? If it costs you nothing, you ain't going to use it.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think it's about taking those leaps of responsibility, where it's like, say if you're going to gym and squatting, you don't just squat the same weight every week and get stronger. You have to put more weight on the barbell in order for your legs to get stronger. So in the same way in the world, you have to put more responsibility on your shoulders, even if it's scary, even if you're uncertain you can bear it. And then after a while, you adapt to it and your legs will get stronger, and you keep on doing that. So it's about like externalizing that accountability as much as possible, where it's like, say quitting your job and forcing yourself to make it work, or it's like investing in this thing, and because you put like half your net worth into it, it's like you've got to work in it, you're not going to half-arse it. So I think especially me, like I've seen a lot of growth from just taking more responsibility onto your shoulders, and I think is that something you did as well?
Yeah, man, I think so. But then I do know some people, and like all the gear but no idea type of people. They're the
Yeah.
type of people that will buy the Fairtex shin guards, the Fairtex gloves, and like the winning headgear, even though they don't even need headgear, but he's got it
Yeah.
anyway. And then he's got all of the best golf clubs, and he plays golf for about 3 weeks. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I do think it's a way to make yourself more likely to do it. But if you're a guy that don't respect money, then you're not gonna. Do you know what I mean? If that's unusual for you to spend a grand on education, then you probably will value it more. But not always for everyone, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's a good point actually, because obviously there is the all gear no idea guy. We all know who, we've all seen that guy before. Like there's a guy who used to come down to my gym and he was just like kitting out and everything. His dad would come to watch him sparring and stuff, and he always used to cut out all the clips of him like losing and just have like a highlight reel of him getting like sweeps and stuff. But
Is
like
that why you asked me earlier? Is that why you asked me? Because it's been done to you.
no, that hasn't been done to me, but he's never swept me. I'm unsweepable, mate. You should know this. I'm an absolute beast, mate. But yeah. So obviously, there is a spectrum to it, and it is. I feel like you intuitively know if it's something that you sort of are uncomfortable with, and like, oh, I don't know, then yeah, it's probably going to get you growth. But if not, then yeah. But it's interesting because like we said, there is that well trodden path of like lads in the UK. You go to university, you get the job, whatever. But in reality, I think there is a sort of another path opening, one which you're like successfully done, one which I'm like in the process of taking, and it's sort of like one where maybe you have a full-time job or part-time job, a job where it essentially doesn't take up all your time and energy, so you can actually work on something on the side, and essentially just try to make the side thing your main thing. And I think,
Yeah.
pardon me, yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah. So, like, I think if it was me starting again, I think there's two different ways that you can go about it. I think you can work as many hours as you physically can, like get a full-time job and then get yourself a part-time job, and then do the bare minimum on all the basics about working towards your big main project that you're eventually going to work for. I'm talking if you're like, 16, 17 years old starting out. Do you know what I mean? Get yourself a shit ton of savings and then use it to take a risk. Like, quit the jobs. You're not getting that income anymore. You've got 15K in the bank. You've got loads of money to just try different things, buy a mentor, buy courses, get the knowledge, work on maybe buying some ads. I don't know. I've never really bought ads before, but whatever it is for whatever you want to do, I think that's the best way to do it. And then, if worst comes to worst, you just pick up the shit jobs again. You go again in a year's time. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I think that's dead smart because I mean, if you look at like your like a lifestyle in which you'd really be happy, I mean, obviously you can see like the Rolexes and Lamborghinis in Dubai, and that's all great. But fundamentally, most people to be happy, they want to do something they love. They want like geographical freedom, and most of that just comes from having an online income of like say even just like 2K a month, maybe not even that. And if you're quite like conservative with your spending, the more conservative, in fact, like the easier this is, then you can actually just like say if you're someone who can make 2 grand from a laptop, you can literally you have freedom pretty much. You could go wherever you wanted. You could train every single day, as long as you do your work, it's fine. And I think that's sort of like probably like the path to the best sort of lifestyle you can have in the modern day. What do you think about that?
I completely agree. I completely agree. It's like, yes, you just need to be, if you're in talking about those like Asian type of countries, like those, is it Eastern Asian, where Thailand,
Yeah,
Bali, or one of those countries?
yeah,
I think probably I've never been, so I don't know for sure, but they say if you have about 2 to 3K a month of online income coming in, you can live a comfortable life. I'd like to think so. So yeah, like I'm going Valencia early June, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm just taking like a mini BTEC Thailand holiday, but then it's the same sort of shit because like I think what you're trying to ask is like, is it more about all the materialistic shit or is it more about like the life? Because I think you should strive to live the life that you want to live, but at the same time, you don't really need geographical freedom to do that. You can literally probably do it now. You could probably do it. You could probably find a way to make content and make it so that your passion is your business somehow. Just because your passion's your business doesn't mean you're not going to hate parts of your business, though, you know? Because you think you're getting yourself into online fitness coaching, by example. You think you're making people meal plans all the time. You think you're giving people different workout plans all the time. But really, you've just turned yourself into a marketer and you've turned yourself into a salesman and you've turned yourself into a guy that has to be on your phone DMing all the time, doing shit jobs that you don't want to be doing, you know? So yeah, you build your life around that. You find ways to make it fun. If you hate doing that, you go to the cafe and do it. If you're in a good country, you could probably lie down on a sunbed and do it. Do you know what I mean? So I truly think if you've got a valuable skill and you know how to do anything, that's pretty desirable. Like for example, getting into amazing shape, or for example, leveling up your strength and conditioning, or for example, how to get your first paying client, you know, because a lot of people want that type of shit. So if you can do that, then you can monetize it somehow. I truly believe that.
yeah, 100%. I think like sort of like in your life, if you think, what do people come ask me for advice on or ask me on this? And if you kind of take that and think, okay, if I was to like say a millionaire came to me tomorrow and he was paying me, I don't know, £10,000 to help him with this thing, how would I do it? And I think you take that output of whatever the answer to that question is, and then you sell it pretty much. Like is the best way
Yeah,
I sort of say it is, yeah.
you make your product that fucking good that it's like, how could I add 2 zeros on the end of this? Do you know what I mean? What makes it go from like a course that's like $10 to something that costs 1K, 10K? Like, what could I do to help that person get that result that they want? And then you'd be surprised at how much you can sort of ask for money. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's just I wish I knew this shit way earlier. I've probably been doing this about 2 years now, but I wish I started doing it 5 years ago. You know?
Yeah, I mean, this is. I feel like it's such a useful podcast for like younger lads who are probably at that stage in their life where they don't really know what direction to take. Because, like, you see, say, your Andrew Tates or whatever, or the guys who've made it, so to speak, financially, speaking on podcasts and stuff. But, like, the advice they give is sort of from, like, their level of the stratosphere. It's sort of like how to make money on this industrial scale. But, like, what a lot of lads need is not necessarily like that fucking millions coming in. They just need enough, you know what I mean? And enough to be able to quit their job, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I think the only way you're going to do that, unless, because what you're saying is like Tate and everyone, they've got money. So a lot of the time when you're rich, it's so easy to stay rich and keep rich because you spend money, you make money on like the stock market, whatever, you know. But if you've got no money, the best thing to get into is some sort of product or service where you're helping deliver something. So you're not actually paying for inventory, you're not doing any type of like shop or anything like that, or selling items or anything like that. It's just you helping somebody achieve something that you've achieved in your life. But if you haven't achieved anything in your life, then you need to fucking do it. You need to go on some mad transformation. You need to, I don't know, achieve a desirable outcome in your life that makes people value it, document that, and then obviously you can monetize that.
Yeah, that's interesting, mate. Because I wonder, with you in your life, was there like a specific moment, whether you were sitting on like on the bench at football, I don't know, whether you're in a certain situation, whatever it is, where you sort of thought, you know what, my life isn't going the way I headed. Like I need to actually lock in and take life seriously. Was there a specific moment?
Oh, good question. Good question. I think it, honestly, I don't think there was. I think it slowly creeps up on you. I think it's one of them, for me anyway, where you go from the degenerate mode where you're content with your 9 to 5, you're content with having about 60% gym attendance, and you know what I mean, like it's okay, but you're not doing everything you should be doing. And that's because of like smoking weed, vaping, whatever it is, junk food, surrounding yourself with low quality people all the time. I think it's eat enough of that, you start to go, okay, I'll watch a YouTube video today about how to sort this out. And then before you know it, you're watching these videos every day and you're surrounded by that type of consumption every day. And you're like, okay, I'm going to start fucking doing this now. I'm going to start doing this now. And then if you're an action taker, you'll do it. And if you're not an action taker, you won't do it, because I do think genetically some people are just more self-ambitious than other people. Some people need more of a kick up the arse than other people. I'm lucky. I think I don't need a kick up the arse. I never have.
Yeah, I think that's right as well, because obviously we'll shit on the 9 to 5 path, but fundamentally, I think there's some people who that's right for, who like
Hmm.
are meant for that, and there's no shame in that at all. But like, I imagine say if you're someone listening to this podcast, or maybe one of your audience, or my audience, whatever. I think you probably don't fit that cast, but it is important to say that, like, I think there is some people who fit it really well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, bro. Like, you do need those types of people, because some people are just so, I don't know, like some people, they just got nothing in them, have they? They're just like a blank canvas. I don't know how to explain it. They just move on with life. They don't really do anything. And I'm a coach, right? I'm an MMA coach and an online fitness coach. And the worst thing you can do is try and change them, because they
Mm.
won't. They won't. They just never will. Like, they have to change themselves. So you can't fix these people. And they're the exact perfect people you're talking about. They're the ones that you need doing the jobs like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, mate. And it's like it all has to come from a place of like their actually willingness to do it. And I think also like reflecting, like say in previous times that I've looked at, like I've locked in and I've been on self improvement, I've been doing this stuff, but my mates haven't. And it's sort of like me trying to like change them, whatever, is kind of, it's almost a bit inauthentic. It's like they're on their path, they're trying to do what they're trying to do. Obviously, you can try and like lead a horse to water and stuff, but like forcing it never works. It never works, and it has to come from
No.
them fundamentally. And I think also it's just like you're trying to make someone else like converge onto your path as well. Like that might not be even aligned for them, even if they forced it for a bit. So I think honestly, like I've had friends in the past who I remember with the lads I used to live with at uni. We had a great time. I sort of started locking in on self improvement, started like stopping drinking, stopping smoking weed and this stuff, and they sort of continued. And like I tried so hard to like force them onto like getting on it with me and like joining me on this sort of mission. Right, never happened. But now, like a few years later, because I've left them to it, whatever. They've sort of come round now and actually started locking in as well. And like that I could never have got them to do that, but because they've sort of gone full circle and realized, hang about, yeah, there is these, we've got to make something happen here. So I think like, yeah, I think you just got to like leave
I
space for them.
agree. I agree. I agree. And what do you think is the main, from your experience? What do you think is the main? Is it drinking? Is it Is it drugs? What do you think it is that keeps people in that loop for so long?
I think an interesting thing actually is British culture, because I think we are almost got it like impregnated into us, right? that you can't reach for anything, you can't stand outside the crowd, you can't go for this, you can't do that. And yeah, it's well, I guess it's like crabs in a bucket. Like as soon as someone tries to start doing that, everyone will drag them down. And because British culture, if you look at say like in betweeners or whatever, like we love to take the piss out of each other, we rip the piss out of each other, and it's great in the sense that it's funny as fuck and it's like the banter's unparalleled. But then it also kind of creates a subconscious fear of sticking out, because you just know you'll get the piss ripped out of you if you do. And
Yeah,
I think that kills so many dreams.
I agree. I agree. I think if you were to do High School Musical in the UK, you'd just get the piss taken out of you. Do you know what I mean? But like High School Musical in America is like encouraged. Do you know what I mean? If you've got
Yeah,
some bravery and you've got some sort of like balls in America, they like that shit. And they also we always vote for the underdog in the UK. We always want like the person that's like supposed to lose to win. But if the guy that's dominating the champions always winning whatever in the UK, they just want to see them lose. Football teams as well, you know. So I think in America it's like, oh yeah, we've got the best. We've got Tom Brady's going to win another Super Bowl, man. Do you know what I mean? Like it's amazing. I don't even know anything about American football, but I know that they celebrate heroes a lot better in America compared to the UK. I'd say
yeah, that is
just
interesting.
negative.
Yeah, I don't know what causes it. I mean, obviously you can say like the weather or something, and obviously the UK's been declining for like quite some time now, so that could play a part of it. But yeah, I mean, I can't say what causes it really, but I just think if you are a lad who's scared to stand out, just fucking do it, like fundamentally, because I think you'll find like, say, I know you've taken a leap before, I've taken a leap before, and made something happen like publicly, and some people are really supportive. Some people will take the piss out of you, and some people will hate you for it. But like the support of people are people you want in your life anyway. So it sort of attracts the right people. And obviously, some people take the piss. It's going to happen. Whatever you do, mate. Would you rather like lie in a grave and be like, "Oh, I'm glad no one took the piss out of me," but you achieve nothing? It's like, and
I
then
agree.
and then it's the people who hate you are the people who aren't meant to be in your life anyway. They don't want the best for you, so it pushes them away. Is actually, although it hurts when you lose that follower or you see that hate comment, then that person getting pushed away, they're obsessed with you most of the time anyway, but it's also good because they shouldn't be in your life anyway, you know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, bro. I do think that whatever you should just live the life of like I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do, and the people that like it, and the people that don't like it, don't like it, because that's how the personal brand works as well. Like if you're sitting on the fence about everything all the time, you're just not gonna grow. You're just not gonna do well in anything, and you're just a pussy, really. Do you know what I mean? If you're like sat on the fence all the time, you've got to have your own opinion, and you've got to sit firmly on it. You know. So whether that's people that you know from school that you see unfollowing you, that's the one for me. I'd say I don't really keep an eye on it too much. But for example, I may have watched somebody unfollow me, or maybe I might have checked a few months later or whatever, and then I'll see these same people in the local co-op, or I'll see them in the local supermarket, and
Yeah,
then they're just looking at the curb the whole time, like they've done something wrong to me, or they've. And I'm like, I don't really care. Honestly, I don't care, and I won't bring
you're
it
not
up.
scrapping in the car park, you know. Fucking get
No,
on.
and they're weird. I've had people just be weird to me for no reason, just because I started to do something that they're probably scared to do, and I think that's what it is. I don't
Yeah.
think I'm better than them in any way. I just think that they just haven't took the risk. I just think they haven't tried.
Yeah, exactly. Because it sort of reflects to themselves. It's like, well, this person's taking the risk. He's proving that someone can do it. And like, I've wanted, because everyone really wants to make something of themselves. Like, whether however many like layers of cope on top of that is obviously depends person to person. But everyone at the core wants to make something of themselves. And every time, well, obviously there's different reactions to it. But like, say someone who's perhaps quite spiteful can see someone taking the risk, and they'll literally just think like, it'll do something to them because like this person's doing it. And it sort of cuts through all their layers of cope and realizes, and they sort of like realize that you know what, the reason I haven't took the risk is not because of all these excuses or these reasons or like, oh, I'll wait till next year, I'll wait till I've saved up this much money. It's just because I'm being a pussy. And they don't like that. They don't like that one bit, and it sort of just like serves as a reflection for them, you know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's just like if you ask enough questions, you start to peel those layers of cope that you're on about. Because as you can imagine, I'm an online fitness coach, and I sometimes even help out people with their business as well, right? So I ask these questions, and then I'm like, all right, bro, so let me see your calendar then, and let me see how much time you've really got. And I'm like, okay, so you're lying. Do you know what I mean? Like, there, if you ask enough questions and you go, okay, so how was your diet this week? And they say good. And then you go, okay, I'll ask a different question. Out of the 35 meals this week, how many meals did you stick to? And they will say like, I don't know, 20. And they'll be proud of themselves. And I'm like, so you've done a shit job then. Do you know what I mean? Like you've only stuck to half of them. Like that's not good. So yeah, it's just, I think if you ask enough questions, you start to realize that most people are just full of shit, especially like you say, not necessarily whether they've been punched in the face or not, but you can also just tell by looking at someone if they've gone through any type of suffering. You can tell by the way people carry themselves if they've had a hard upbringing or like a pretty easy upbringing, you know? So, yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. So for you personally, like how instrumental has like suffering been in like making you the person you are?
I think for me, my version of suffering has always been exercise. I've always been an addict for exercise. Like I've just needed to do it. So I'd say for me, that's kept me pretty disciplined. But then I've also lived the cozy life as well. Definitely. I'm not going to say I've had a tough upbringing. I definitely haven't. But I think for you to grow, you definitely do need to suffer. You need to see what that feels like a bit, you know?
Yeah, I think that that's really interesting to say because like a lot of lads in the UK are just dead soft. And because we have these cushy upbringings, and our society in general is quite feminized, it's very maternal. Like even if you look at like playgrounds these days, there's no hard drops. Everything's like that they're trying almost just like safety pad the world, and it's just like obviously when you look at it from like a logical perspective, you think oh children are safer, but like when you look at the second order consequences, it's like well these children aren't like receiving the sort of correct stimulus from the world in order to grow. They aren't going through any adversity, and like because you can't really safety pad the world. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why like so many lads have mental health issues these days because they're not really going through that. But so this is like, would you say like the martial arts gym is something that can sort of negate that and give lads a sort of arena to improve themselves and embrace trial through adversity?
100% because they have respect, right? So I've got four younger brothers as well. So I've got two little half brothers that are 12 years younger than me, and the other one's 14 years younger than me. And obviously, my mum back then, when I was younger, was a lot more strict on me compared to 10 years, 12 years later when she's a bit older. She's got more responsibility with all of us around. Do you know what I mean? So they basically get away with murder, right? So I'm the one that has to fucking, and I just know for a fact that if they did martial arts and they had some sort of way of getting rid of that energy, they would be less little shits, you know?
Yeah.
They'd be a lot better. I think I've got a client called Leo, who's 6 years old, and honestly, you wouldn't believe he's 6 years old. Like his physique, he looks incredible. Like he's low body fat, he's toned up as well. He does boxing about 2 to 3 times a week. He lifts weights. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Hell,
and this is my boxing coach's son. So he does Muay Thai with me once a week, and I'm the only person that he listens to. Like walks all over his dad, who's a boxing coach, walks all over his mum, but they respect the martial arts coach, right? And apparently, since he started doing it, he's became a lot better at school. He's became a lot more respectful to his parents as well. He still does it every now and then, but when it's with me and him, he just shuts up and listens and just gets on with it because he finds it that fascinating and it's an outlet for him.
Yeah, I think that's such an important thing because when speaking to my coach as well, he has kids classes, and there's like certain kids who just will not fucking behave, and it's sort of a difficult ones with kids because I see a lot of children, and you sort of see them like being absolute shits, but their mum's sort of like doesn't even go, oh, like stop it, please, Whereas they need someone to like say stop that now and like actually fucking be
It's
stern
because
with
they're fucking on their phones, most of the mums. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, mate. And like because, like I say, like society's sort of been feminized. Any notion of being like even like too mean to the kid is just seen as like abuse or whatever, and everyone's sort of like walking on thin ice in that regard. But the reality is, like, I mean, I'm not condoning it, but like, and it's never happened to me. But speaking to my friends who say their dad's like maybe slapped them every once in a while, right? Like I was speaking to a friend actually who's like he's a pro rugby player actually, and he was like, you know what, mate? Obviously at the time I fucking like hated it, but now I think it's the best thing that happened to me because
Everyone says it,
yeah, yeah,
and I did.
yeah,
I did when I was younger, and my little brothers don't get that same treatment no more, right? So the
yeah,
other day, I had to give my little brother Stan. I had to give him a good calf kick. And I had to give Diddy. I had to get him in the tie clinch, and I just punched him in the body. I didn't knee him in the body, but basically they're little bastards, right? I love them to
Yeah,
bits, but
yeah,
me and my missus, I buy all the shopping, right? So
yeah,
every week it will cost me like 120 something quid for the
yeah.
shopping. And then I've got like different cupboards to keep it in. And I'll say to him, like, you fucking stay away from those cupboards, right? He nicked about 2 packets of my missus hot cross buns.
Fucking
He
hell.
nicks all my smoked salmon as well.
Oh no, that's
And then
I can't lie.
he leaves the fridge unplugged because he had his mate round. He took the fridge out so that he could put the TV in.
Mate.
And then that got rid of about 60 quid worth of like steak, salmon,
Oh
expensive meats. So yeah, I think it was justified, bro. I think you need it as a
no.
kid. You know,
Yeah,
he won't
yeah,
do it again. He
yeah.
won't.
I hope he doesn't check it next time. That could be devastating. But
No, and I had my other little brother Dids in like the choke slam. I sort of just got him. He was like he had the bed behind him, so it wasn't on anything on. I just grabbed him by the neck, and just slammed him on the bed. But yeah, he needs it, man. He needs it.
oh man, yeah. Do you ever like 4v1 them or something?
Nah,
Just like
bro.
Thanos fight them like one at a time. Like
Me and my brothers that are a bit older, my full brothers, we've
yeah,
had some scraps in the past. Like
yeah.
I've got I'm not sure if you can see, but I've got a split in my eyebrow. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
That was from a time when can't remember what it was about, but I think it was I was playing PlayStation. We all played PlayStation, and we all had play PS4s. We all had the same controllers, and my controller ran out of charge. So I went to go get his,
yeah,
and then he came back and he was pissed off. So he gets in my face, and he's way taller than me. My brother is as
yeah.
well. He's probably about your height, to be honest, bro. 6'2", right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
just a bit under, but yeah,
On Tinder, 6'4".
yeah, yeah. It's 6'4" on Tinder, mate. Yeah, on YouTube 6'6", mate. Yeah,
Okay, that gets you more subs, I hear.
that's it,
Maybe.
mate. That's it. Just a bit of Photoshop, no problem.
But yeah, he got in my face, and because he's taller than me, he tried to be a dickhead and like stand over the top like that. And then I was like, all right, fair enough. I took your controller, here you go. And then he just went for me, tried to punch me, grabbed his wrist, went to punch me again. This is before I did martial arts as well. Grabbed his other wrist, and then next thing you know, he just fucking headbutts me like that.
Fucking
Just
hell.
look down to the ground, and I just see blood just dripping down on the floor. And then I just remember looking at my brother like, you're fucked. And then my mum just goes screaming up the stairs like, Aaron, what the fuck are you doing? You fucking... And then next thing you know, A&E, I had blue stitches in my eyebrow, and that was there for about, I don't know, a week and a half. And it just made me look like such a retard. Like imagine blue stitches in my brown eyebrows, dark brown. And it was like a light blue as well.
Oh
And
dear.
then I got given a Mackies. My brother didn't get a Mackies.
W.
So that's the punishment there.
Like, fucking hell, yeah. Like that's the thing. I think if you like, so I have one brother growing up, and I did a lot of scrapping with him. But like, I think with me and him, it sort of reached a certain age where it's like we sort of just we never really ventured into that territory again. Because I started hitting the gym and stuff. So obviously I didn't have any martial arts training, but like I think maybe it
Are you
reached
the
an age.
oldest or?
No, my brother's older than me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about him actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into martial arts because he's a big boy as well. He's like 6'4", 6'5" or something. And he's a big unit.
Oh my god, on Tinder he puts like 6'8".
Oh mate, he fucking will. Yeah, I'm sure he fucking is. But yeah, so I need to get him into martial arts training. To be fair, but I think that's such a useful thing actually. And like one thing also, like a lot of guys have lost is like that brotherhood aspect. Like because a lot of like masculine spaces are sort of like co-ed spaces now. Now it's both like masculine and feminine, like women and men. And a lot of lads don't have that same brotherhood as well. And like, do you find that in the martial arts gym, or do you find it with your
I
brothers?
do in the martial arts. I wish I could have a true, when you see like the Tate brothers, and then you see like the Diaz brothers, and then you see the Pettis brothers. Yeah, you get loads of these people, and I wish that my brothers loved what I loved growing up, so that we could be like partners in crime, doing shit. And I
Yeah.
wish that we had that, but for me, and I'm not sure about your family, your experience in your town or whatever, but I've noticed that if you have a big family, especially, if the oldest guy is already the sporty guy, the youngest, they don't even try. If the top guy is already the clever one, the second oldest will try to be the sporty guy. I've noticed that. I've never seen it where the oldest is the sporty guy, the second oldest is also trying to be the sporty guy. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, I mean, I noticed my brother's just so different to me as well. So
Yeah. So,
it's
like, what identity is your older brother took, would you say?
well, he's sort of like, well, he's got a proper job, and he also does do some like content stuff on the side, but it's mainly like a food account and stuff. And he loves watching his sport, and I think he plays a little bit, but I think he's more like I think he's like your typical British lad. Like, loves his pints, loves his football, that sort of thing, as opposed to.
Okay.
I mean, and I'm just autistic as fuck, so
You don't
it's
like
like.
football, though, do you?
I mean, well, playing it's good. I'm watching it
Yeah.
like I watch it occasionally, but the thing is, like, I just think it's such a big like energy leech, and I think it's so easy to start identifying with it, and I think it can take away from your actual mission in life quite a lot, and I think you see that a lot in the UK. So
100%, man. You get people like living by the badge, don't you?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's,
Dying by the badge.
yeah, exactly, mate. And like literally going out fighting for it. It's literally
Hmm.
because it gives them like this sort of like fake camaraderie and like identity. Like people won't even see themselves as a person; they'll see themselves as an Arsenal fan or whatever. And I think it's just like, yeah, it's a bit of fun, but people take it too seriously, and I think they get too involved in it, and it ends up taking over their life, and they end up achieving nothing because it's a bunch of men kicking a ball around on a field with made up rules, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. It's just, it is empty, I'd say. I think that's what you're trying to say, and it's
yeah,
just an
yeah,
empty. I follow UFC occasionally,
yeah.
but that's partly my job, I'd say. I'd say
Yeah,
it's part.
yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, I'd say that's different because if you look at animals, you don't see a fucking giraffe kicking up a ball, you know what I mean, like doing some kiwi ups, but you do see giraffes fighting. And I think fighting isn't like a man made sport, it's something that is innate to us and something that is integrated with innate nature. And if there was, society collapsed, like people would still be fighting. It's just part of life, I think. So, but
100%, bro.
although we
100%.
yeah exactly because although we put a rule set and like say confine it to an octagon or whatever, I think it's still there's something so primal about it that it's like I wouldn't even count it in the same category as football.
Well, I agree because, like, when you were at school, when there was a school fight happening, everyone would watch. Even like the dorky girls would go watch,
Yeah.
and they're never going to step inside a martial arts gym. But it's interesting. People
Yeah.
will watch that shit if there's beef between two people and they've been talking shit in the English class, and then do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I think it's always going to be like that, unless, like you say, we have got a weird society coming along. You never know. Fighting might just be completely gone. That's like the only way you can have strength. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm not saying it'll be gone, but the fans might be a bit more gay now. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. A
They
few
might
more
not like it.
Sean O'Malley's knocking about. No, I'm
Hmm.
joking. But
No, not Sean O'Malley. What's the other one? Talbot. Talbot. That's it. He's the
I
gay
don't know.
one.
Oh mate, yeah.
The one that looks like Sean O'Malley a little bit, but
Get him sparring with Strickland, mate. Get some testosterone in him.
I'd love to see that. But
Yeah,
yeah.
mate. I think I think because of like how certain say whatever agendas are being pushed, I think you sort of see a counterculture to that. And like I don't know about you, but I think MMA and say the fan base, whatever the community, just seems to be growing. I think is that something you'd observe as well?
I think so, but I also just think that the UFC is at one point we overtook the boxing. I think boxing's taking back over again slowly, as
Yeah,
in fans watching the sport and fans giving a shit about the sport.
yeah,
Because I mean, I know we had a lot of posts about the White House yesterday with like all of these people, but that's as far as they've gone in a while with promoting. That's as far as they've gone. So
yeah,
I just think that they're getting a bit lazier. I think the fans don't give as much of a shit. I think that the UFC care more about attracting random people compared to the true fans because they've got us. They've got us. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
We're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it. We'll watch some shit fight on the Apex. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
But Joe Schmo that does a 9 to 5 and watches a bit of sports every weekend, they ain't gonna care. But the way that they promote is mainly attracting those types of people with like the Discovery, the Paramount, whatever it's called.
yeah. No, I agree, mate. I think because the boxing they nailed the promotion right for the most part,
100%.
except for like sometimes they're a bit, sometimes they dance around getting the main fights, but especially recently they've just put them together.
Well, I used to say that, but I
Yeah,
think MMA is like that now. I
yeah, it
think
is.
the
It is.
John
Yeah,
Jones versus Tom Aspinall
that
never
was
happened.
yeah, that was terrible, mate.
You know, but they've been boxing have actually been putting the fights on, like Eubank versus Thingy, Nigel Benn,
Yeah,
whatever, both in their
Conor Ben.
prime.
Yeah,
Conor Benn, yeah. And there's been quite a few of that recently in boxing. Like we've seen we've seen Tyson Fury versus Deontay both in their primes 3 times. Yeah, so I think that MMA nowadays ain't doing that. Like we're seeing Pimlet versus Gaethje for the interim belt now. Like we're seeing padding records type of fights in the UFC a bit more. We need a superstar because we're lacking a superstar right now. All of our best fighters have lost or they're drug addicts.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, no, it's just like that. They just protect him too much. Like, I think if I was Dana, I mean, A, I'd pay the fighters more. I don't see why he doesn't. And also, it's just like, mate, the super fights are so there. Like, even like, say, Gaethje to Poirier, it's like, how is that like headlining a White House card? It's just, mate, it's just, the
it's
matchmaking's
dead.
terrible. It
It's
is, mate.
dead.
It is, yeah. And like everyone, I mean, I'm a bit more casual, but whenever I speak to guys like you, like my brother's a massive UFC fan as well. They're just all you hear is just complaints like, what the fuck are they doing? And it's just like, I think they just maybe I don't know if they like allow these fighters to just like duck and hide, like sort of like the John Jones thing, which I sort of think Islam's ducking to Poirier a little bit, in my opinion. But
Yeah. I think once he defends the belt, I think he would. I don't know who they're going to give a shot to. I think it'll be Ian Gary. I think he'll defend the belt against Ian Gary. I don't think he'll chill there for too long. I think he might move down to Ilya, potentially have that fight, potentially win, and then I think he retires, honestly.
yeah, no, Islam's fucking he's unreal. If he executes that game plan, like mate, he's got to be like on the goat list somewhere.
He
Like
is he's got to be up there, bro. We're talking like number 3 already, in my
yeah,
opinion. I
yeah,
think he's just because he beat the people that Ilya beat, but when they were in their primes, like when he beat Oliveira, that was prime Oliveira.
yeah,
Ilya did beat Oliveira, but that was, he lost a decision to Arman Saryukian,
yeah. I
like
thought he won that, to be honest, but
so did I.
yeah, it's a good fight.
But he didn't look amazing in that
No,
fight. And yeah, I think that Islam is already number 3. I think it goes John Jones and then it goes GSP and then it goes Islam for me. But then if you're not including PED cheats, then it'll be GSP number 1.
yeah. Would you really put Jones at one? What's your
Yeah,
reasoning for that?
I'd,
Really?
I, I'd say so. I think if we're including drug cheats, I do
Yeah,
think he cheated pretty much all his career.
yeah.
But I think that if we're including that, then John Jones is number 1.
Interesting, man. Interesting. What's your reasoning behind that?
I love GSP, and I think that, do you know what I mean? You couldn't name all of his title defenses. I massively favour resume, right? And I also favour title defenses is fine, right? But quality of title defenses is also important. I love Michael Bisping, but that wasn't the best middleweight that you could have won the belt from. That weren't like, and same thing for John Jones. In all fairness, like winning the belt against Shogun, a fat welterweight, basically. It's like if you look at John Jones's career as well, you'll notice that he's 6'4", beating up a load of guys that are 5'10". They later on moved down to the middleweight division. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just think John Jones has got the cleaner resume. I just think he's actually dominated his fights, got more finishes as well. But then his last few fights, he started to duck people for a reason, like Dominic Reyes, Thiago Silva, I think his name is, or is it Alves?
I'm not sure actually.
I forgot, but some Brazilian cunt that broke both his legs and he couldn't do anything against him. And then GSP, I just think his quality of people like Jake Shields, Johnny Hendricks, which he basically lost. Most people would say he lost that fight. Who else did he beat? BJ Penn, who's tarnished his GOAT status and legacy. Yeah, that's about all I can really name, to be honest. Like I can't really name any more people, but John Jones, you could quickly name 2 handfuls of people he's beat.
Yeah, no, that is fair enough, to be honest. And I think, I think the competition is just constantly increasing because back in the day, like you're having guys like Mighty Mouses who had like 12 title defenses or something.
That's interesting. I forgot about Mighty Mouse. I think Mighty Mouse is number 4.
I think he's won before, yeah, yeah. But I just think like, which is why I think that kind of exemplifies why what Islam's done is so crazy because he's actually consistently won and defended about in like the most competitive era of UFC.
Even though he only fights once a year, yes, it's very
We,
impressive.
it is true. It is true. You don't sort of have like the Marabs of the world who would just go crazy on it. But yeah,
Marab was up there. Marab was getting up there
yeah,
in the GOAT status, you know. I
yeah.
mean, but yeah, I think it would go DJ 4 and then Ilya 5 for me.
Yeah, I think Ilya's
But
something special, but I think he has to have a fall off in his career. He's got to get like knocked out at some point, man. I think he must do, surely.
I hope so a little bit. I do
Do
like
you?
him. I do
Yeah,
like him, but I kind of hope so as well.
yeah. I don't hope so, but like I do. I can. I just think it must happen at some point. I mean, to be fair, he did have that moment against. I'm trying to think. I forget his name. But where he got got
Jai
head.
Herbert. I've met Jai
That's it.
Herbert.
Oh, have you? What was he like?
Yeah. He's actually a really nice guy. My mate that I was with did a cringy one-liner to get it. It was like a pickup line he did. It was something like we were in the same changing room as him at Battle Arena. Leon Edwards was there as well.
Oh
Swear to God.
shit!
This was the
That's
week before he was fighting Kamaru Usman where he got the KO.
fucking hell, really.
Maybe not the week. Maybe not the week before. The month before. Something like that.
Did you go to him like go for the head kick, mate? Go for the head kick.
No, no, I can't. I can't say I did that. No, I was tempted though. I was thinking about it,
Yeah.
but no. My mate walked up to Jai Herbert and he just sort of said something along the lines of like, "Oh yeah, it's not every day you're in a changing room with Jai Herbert, is it?" And then I just remember just looking at him and I was like, and then we actually did start speaking to him for a little bit. And then I swear to God, this is the fight that I took on 1 day's notice. And they
Yeah.
did like a big speech about it as well. And I was fighting Sonny Crossman, who was fighting for the title.
Yeah.
And then the people in the rules meeting, Leon and all them lot were already there.
Yeah.
And I remember them saying, "Oh yeah, massive congrats to me for taking the fight on short notice and everything."
Yeah.
And then just as I was about to walk out, I swear to God, Leon Edwards was like, "Good luck, bro." And I was just like, "Oh yes." But then, yeah, I lost. I lost that fight.
Yeah. Well, one
Maybe
day.
his luck weren't enough, but yeah.
Yeah. But mate, taking it on 1 day's notice takes balls. I mean, I want to dive a bit deeper. What does it actually feel like when you're literally walking out into the cage?
What, on 1 day's notice or just in general?
You say in general.
It's pretty. The more you do it, the better it is. You're always gonna shit yourself, no matter what. And
Yeah.
I think it gets easier. Actually, I don't think that's true. The first one I ever did, I was the most cocky walkout. Not cocky walkout, but
Yeah.
I felt like I was never gonna lose. I felt like I was the shit, honestly. And then I still did up until I lost, probably. And then after that loss, I then was like, okay, now I'm actually shitting myself every time I walk out. And then as I got more wins together, it was like, okay, this is all right, you know?
Yeah.
But I think it does gradually get easier the more you do it, but it also depends on the last few results you've had.
Yeah, I see. Like the sort of momentum going into it. I mean, I think like GSP, like he literally, oh, and John Jones as well. Actually, I think John Jones against Rampage Jackson is a better example where he literally was having nightmares that he was going to get knocked out, and that's why in his dreams he always walked into the cage, but in that specific instance he crawled up to him because he was like that never happened in my dreams. So it's interesting, yeah. So and like I suppose spoken to a mate who's like a Muay Thai fighter, and he says it's like as a fighter you experience like the highest highs and also the lowest lows. Like it's massive peaks and troughs. Like he says, winning a fight like there's no better feeling, but losing a fight like there's no worse feeling. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, man. Like you do have a spring in your step when you win a fight. And remember, you think that everyone knows and you think that everyone cares. So you sort of walk around assuming that people know, even though they don't. Right. And the same thing goes for when you lose. Like
Yeah,
you sort of have a bit of a nod. Do you know what I mean? You're walking around the supermarkets, not able to look at people. You know,
yeah,
like you do think it's the end of the world when you lose. But like we said earlier, it's very important that you feel like that because you don't ever want to feel like that again. So
yeah,
you're like, okay, my identity is pretty much all about fighting. The last time I did that, I lost. And it makes you have an identity of like, okay, I'm just a shit fighter. I need to change that, you know?
yeah. And it's all that discomfort. It's interesting you say about the posture and the eye contact. I remember like years ago reading like Jordan Peterson's book, and I think like the sort of intro to it was about lobsters fighting, and like basically the process of like two rival lobsters, how they fight, and obviously they'd show off to each other, and they'd sort of like go through these different processes, and then they'd eventually fight, and the lobster that won would have like higher testosterone, more dopamine. It would be like more upright in his posture, like strutting about. And the lobster that lost would be like sort of like hunched over, like it would lose testosterone, lower dopamine. And yeah, it's just interesting to see that literally reflected on like a human scale as well, where it's just, yeah.
No, no, it's interesting. It is interesting. I'm very fascinated by like eye contact, different types of charisma traits. I am very interested in it. I find it, when you're watching TV shows and you see certain characters and you're like, oh shit, that was pretty cool, like the way he did that, or some sort of hero from some sort of film. I've always found that stuff pretty interesting. So it's quite interesting that you say that. I didn't know you were into that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, mate. Well, I think naturally being autistic, I think you sort of see things in a different light, and you sort of see a few like different patterns. So I mean, like, so you've met like quite a few. I know you said before, like you've seen Tom Aspinall and stuff. Is there any
No,
fighters
no,
that
not Tom Aspinall. I've never met Tom
have
Aspinall.
you not? Oh, right, never mind.
Leon.
Leon.
Yeah.
Did you say before that you like saw him at an event or something like that?
Who,
Or am
Tom
I?
Aspinall?
Yeah, Tom Aspinall. Or am
No,
I
I don't
chatting
think
shit?
so.
No, right,
No, I was
no.
just I'm in his community on school.
Oh, right, yeah, no, right. I'm chatting shit then. But like, yo, so what are those guys like in real life? Is there something different about them? Would you say?
I honestly, it's just the more you're around them, the more you realize they're real people. They're just
Yeah.
normal guys. Like I used to train at BST as well, and there's like Jordan Vasenic there. There's loads of like Modestus Bokauskas, who's the light heavyweight guy in the UFC. Yeah, like you're just around these people, and they rock up late a little bit, and then the coach will have a joke with them, and then they'll say like a pretty basic expression back that I would probably say if I got. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
you're around all of these killers, and they're just normal people, and
Yeah.
you can go ask them questions. They've got humble mindsets. It's like the gym. If you go up to a local meathead in the gym and you just go like, "Oh yeah, how come you're doing this tricep exercise?" They'll be willing to tell you most of the time.
Yeah.
You
100%,
do
mate.
get the odd cunt that's just a dickhead, but
Yeah.
that's not usually how it is.
Yeah. Exactly. So would you say like the harder guys at the gym actually tend to be the nicer? Do you think that's fair?
I'd say like, yeah, I've met some lovely people that are killer fighters. Like, I remember when I first walked into my first ever MMA gym, the guy at reception was the only pro fighter they had at that gym, and he's got you can tell he's had fights face. He's got like hollow cheekbones because he's cutting weight. He's just got a face like a slapped ass half the
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah.
then when you actually speak to him, he smiles and he
Yeah.
speaks nice.
Yeah.
But if you saw it, he's got a resting bitch face. So I was a
Yeah.
bit intimidated, but yeah.
Yeah. No, that is a bit long. So interesting. Like, so you yourself, what's your like history been like with street fights? I know you said you had your little scrap with your brother and stuff, but like, what is your sort of approach in say in a street fight or like a potential conflict?
Honestly, the closest I've ever had to it, I've never had a street fight. I've been sucker punched twice. I've been So I'll explain one of them. So one of them was at this village hall party, right? There was loads of underage drinking going on. The older boys came in their cars. We were still young. And I remember I was like trying to help my friend. And then one of them just literally just walked up to me. I didn't even know he was going to do it. And he just smacked me around the face. And then I didn't get KO'd or anything because there was like a car bonnet. But I definitely like fell back and sort of caught myself. And then he was gone by the time anything happened. This was before I trained martial arts, that one. And there was another time where I was with my ex-girlfriend, actually, and it was her birthday, right? So we were at our local pub, and I didn't expect to see my friends at the local pub. So I was like, all right, well, my friends are here. We'll go chill with them for a little bit while we have a drink and that. And we ended up going to Leicester City Centre. And if you've never been to Leicester City Centre, it's pretty shit,
It
right?
is shit, mate. Yeah.
It's pretty shit. And then I went to the kind of like a poshy type of like, it's kind of like a bar, but it's like a club at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was really loud in there. And I remember I was going to the toilet or something. And then my missus came up to me, my ex-missus, I should say. And she was sort of going like, because it was so loud in there, I couldn't hear what she was saying. So I was just drunk and I just went, oh, right, yeah, and just walked off. And then she starts grabbing me and going mental at me like, no, I'm trying to tell you something, right? Turns out that I think it was my mate, Joe. He fucking got her handbag and just emptied it all out, all over the floor, right? And I didn't know this. And
Yeah.
all she does is just try to storm out of the room, and then I go to follow her out as well because I'm like, I'm trying to talk to you, like what's actually happened here, sort of thing.
Yeah.
We go around the side, and she's trying to just get away because you know what girls are like, they just
Yeah.
fucking get emotional and all of this,
Yeah.
right? So I'm trying to stop her from running off, and she's wearing heels and she's had loads to drink,
Yeah.
right? So as she's running off, all I'm trying to do is just stop her from running off so I can get an understanding of what happened because I still didn't know that the bag had been done.
Yeah.
Right? She did eventually tell me, but in the process of me stopping her, I
Yeah.
basically she sort of fell over a little bit while I did. I didn't push her over. She was wearing heels. She was drunk, and I grabbed her to stop her from running away so I could understand what was
Yeah.
going on.
Poor takedown defense, but yeah.
Yeah, she needs to work on it. Well,
Yeah.
she did. She doesn't need to anymore. But yeah. Anyways, these two local Leicester scrotes come
Yeah.
out, and
Yeah.
one of them is like this short Asian guy, and the other
Yeah.
guy was like this tall, blonde, really skinny, lanky looking guy, right? And
Yeah.
he was pale as fuck. And I remember them two coming up to me like, "Yo, what the fuck you doing, mate? Leave her alone, mate." And I was just like, "Are you joking?" Right?
Yeah.
And then by this time, she's still emotional. She's walked off because all she thinks is that I've just gone along with this
Yeah.
conversation, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, long story short, they walk off. I'm not really taking them seriously because I fight all the time, so I'm just not even looking at them.
Yeah.
And I just said something cheeky to them. I just remember just like, go and have your dirty doner over there or something like that
Yeah.
because they were eating some kebabs while they were talking to me.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, turn my back. I think it was the short Asian guy. Just drops his kebab on the floor, punches me in the back of the head. Pretty much, pretty much rocks me. I
Yeah.
didn't get knocked down, but it was the back of the head, and I can still feel the lump now.
They hurt, mate.
And I was Bambi on ice.
Yeah.
Definitely, I was
Yeah.
definitely rocked. And
Yeah.
then they walked off thinking they're some sort of hero because they thought
Yeah.
I was like some dickhead to my girlfriend, but
Yeah.
she was just overly emotional. She wouldn't explain what was going on. I
Yeah.
did find her eventually,
Yeah.
and yeah, but yeah, I got a sucker punch for that. And then I've also had another time where I was at a pub and I was in the beer garden, and it was during the summertime. And this ain't a street fight, by the way, but this kind of saved my life with my ego, I'd say. My friend was trying to talk to one of these girls, and it was me, this friend, and my other friend, and there was four other girls on the table, right? And Ollie was trying to get with one of them. I've just revealed his name now. But then, anyways, I was like, okay, I'll go get myself a little cheeky drink. Does anybody want a drink? I think I said. And then they were like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I went to go get it. As soon as I turned my back, he's jumped on my back and he's took me down. Maybe I should have worked on my takedown defense. He gets me down straight away. He's trying to strangle me. And then in a matter of 15 seconds, I'm not even joking, I get the hooks off him. I get the thing. I go round to his back. I take his back and I choked him out in about literally this all happened in about 15 seconds. And then I just remember all of the girls looking at us and just sort of going like, oh, what the fuck's going on, right? So they weren't interested in me, but they definitely weren't interested in Ollie.
Mate, they loved it, mate. They loved it, mate. They definitely loved it.
But anyways, we had our drinks. They didn't even want to chill this anymore because Ollie, his aura just went
Yeah,
down.
bro. What was he
I'm about
thinking?
half his weight as well. He's like 6'3" and he's about 90 odd kilos as well. So
Yeah, mate, I'm not gonna lie, because when we sparred and that was my first time doing MMA, you just fucking absolutely just like, mate, you just bulldozed me. I'm not gonna lie.
no,
Like,
bro,
can't get you off.
oh yeah, you were doing good as well, bro. You're doing good.
I was trying, mate, but yeah, wasn't getting much joy as well. I thought I was better than you. What belt are you, by the way, in jiu-jitsu?
Oh, I'm a white belt.
You're
I'm a
white belt.
I've only had 2 tags on my white belt because I don't really train in the gi.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the gi, to be honest. I'm not a big fan.
The last time I properly went to a lesson in the gi was over 5 years ago. Over.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, yeah. To be honest, the gi just annoys me. It just sort of just adds things. Whatever. But
It
yeah,
suits big boys like you though, because you can grab people easier and you can like stall a bit better. But for me, when I was sparring people in there like 100 kilos, I couldn't do anything.
yeah, just giving too much leverage. But it just kind of it's just not as accurate, I find, because it sort of just adds handles where you wouldn't have it in like an actual altercation. I think no gi is a bit more accurate in that regard, and I feel like transfers maybe a bit better to MMA.
I agree.
Yeah, which is why I prefer it. But yeah, I mean, from like my street fight experience, it's just like it's anyone, no one is safe. It doesn't matter how much training you have. Like, and obviously, like you, it's interesting with like the second story you told because it was like if it was 1-on-1, like your chances of fucking winning like that fight would be like very very high. But because you sort of like gave them like turned around and whatever, and like you can't rely on anyone to be gentlemanly in a conflict these days. It's like there's knives, there's sucker punches, there's punches to the back of the head, there's glasses, there's bottles. It's like you just like one thing I've learned is you just got to constantly be vigilant. Like you can't turn your back and stuff. It's just like it's
Yeah,
dangerous, man.
I was too cocky for my own good. I was taking the piss out of them, and
Yeah.
my original point is that you can tell when someone fights. You can tell,
Mm,
like you said about body language, eye contact. You can tell when they've got that fighter's aura. You can tell that they do it a few times a week. You can definitely tell, even if they've never competed before. You can tell when somebody's got the energy of like, you don't want to fight me, like that type of energy, where it's
yeah.
almost like sarcastic, where you just sort of like, you can if you want, but you really don't want to. Because
Yeah.
that was the energy I had. I was just like, you can if you want, like you can beat me up for doing that, you can smack me if you want, like you don't want to. And then as soon as I turn my back, get punched in the face, or
Yeah.
back in the head, I should say.
Yeah.
And then I've also de-escalated so many fights. Like I'm definitely one of these guys that's if I'm having a good time and I'm with my girlfriend, or if I'm having a good time with my mates, people don't like it. I don't know what it is, but I must have a smackable face, maybe. I'm not sure. But
Yeah. I'm the
then,
same. Yeah.
oh yeah, you're tall as well, so I imagine you get it more.
Yeah. You do, mate. You really do. But yeah, continue, mate.
Yeah.
Continue.
And I remember it's actually funny because I knew I was in my habitat completely because for one, in this club I'm talking about, the outside smoking area is like a cage. So I was like, you know what, like if
Bit of
anybody
cage
does
wrestling,
start,
mate.
I was like, yeah, you can try and pin me up against the cage or just judo throw you to the ground, mate. But there was this guy and he was from London. He kept on saying to me, oh yeah, I'm from London, and you just can't help but just laugh, and you just laugh in their face, and you just like, I literally couldn't care where you're from. And then my friends are even laughing at him as well, just sort of going like, you are a retard trying to start a fight on this guy. You know, when you have that,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
start doubting themselves.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, they're going, oh, you know what, Shea, you're actually a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, that was a massive waste of time. That
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. That's it, mate. And I think you go ahead, mate. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think most of the time, just like I've had it with gypsies loads of times in my area as
Oh
well. I
yeah.
think they just want to make you shit yourself. It's a test. It's a test. Do you shit yourself or do you not shit yourself?
Yeah.
You know? And if they say they're going to throw hands on you and they haven't thrown hands on you yet, they won't. So I think that's the confidence that you need.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. Yeah, I know those gypsies, man. They're fucking. Yeah, I've had a few encounters with them. Never like when I was younger and just pissing about. Never like say when I'm older. But yeah, mate, they're fucking they're dangerous fellas. But
They
yeah,
are.
yeah, I wouldn't fuck about with them. But like, yeah, it's like I think it's important. Like we saying the de-escalating thing is so important. You got to literally give them no reason at all, and also just stay calm. I feel like because they,
100%.
yeah, they will look for like
100.
they'll you'll like you would say like the slightest thing ever, and they'll try and turn it into something against them. Like,
So I can actually think of it. I'm sorry to keep on talking, but
hey,
I
no,
found
go
another
ahead.
story. I've got
Yeah.
because I remember this was the day before the Floyd Mayweather versus McGregor fight. I remember this very clearly. It was a really lovely sunny day, if you remember. I'm not sure if you remember that
Right.
time, but yeah, in the where I was anyway, we went to the park, and then this was years ago, wasn't it? Like 2016,
Yeah, it must be ages
10
ago.
years ago.
Oh, bro, don't say that.
That's crazy. But yeah, anyways, my mate was still on his bike, and then these gypsies come down, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well, can I borrow your bike?" And then Ethan just gives it to him, right? And I'm just there like, "Okay, you idiot." And
Yeah.
then they're doing laps around the park on the bike, and
Yeah.
then I just sort of whispered to him, I think when I had a second, about like, we need to get your bike back. If you want it back, you've just got it lost. Basically, they're gonna
Yeah.
rob it.
Yeah.
And then I ended up just sort of rimming them about the McGregor Mayweather fight to get
Yeah.
them to. And I thought they would say that they think McGregor's going to win because
Yeah.
they're like Irish and that.
Yeah.
But then they were like, no, no, I think Mayweather's going to win. And even though I didn't actually think Mayweather was going to win, I was that deluded into thinking Conor would win.
Yeah.
I just agreed anyway. I was just like, yeah, no, yeah, I can see, yeah, because Mayweather's been doing boxing his whole life, right? He's going to win. And then they were like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then as long as you don't show fear, basically, I think they're sound. I
Yeah,
think if you, oh yeah, you can have my bike.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think if you do that, they're just going to walk all over you. They're going to see you again. They're going to do it again. I remember they also tried to, back in the day, try and make me buy them something from the shop. They were like, oh yeah, you go buy me a Ribena, mate. And then I just never bought him a Ribena. I just kept on saying no. And then every time they see me in Lutterworth now, we have an inside joke. Oh yeah, do you
Yeah.
go buy me a Ribena? And I'm just like, you're never getting it, mate. You're never getting it. But
Yeah, that's interesting. You have those sort of little tests just to see what you're about, really. And I think oftentimes, like without needing to fight or anything, if you pass those tests, then people, it sort of de-escalates in of itself.
And I think it's the way, yes. I think if you have that cool, calm energy, you speak in a more, what's the word I'm looking for? You speak with more conviction. So it's
Mm,
like, if I'm going to break up with my girlfriend, you wouldn't go like, oh yeah, I fucking hate you. Like
yeah,
all of this, you wouldn't be screaming. You'd just be like, if you do that again, I will have to break up with you.
yeah,
If, if, if you come near me again, I will have to knock you out. I
yeah.
think there's a sinister tone that you have to it, which just makes it even more like effective, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a certainty to it. It's like this will happen if you continue. Well,
Yeah.
that's interesting. So, like, say, obviously, you're in an environment oftentimes with a lot of guys who are very like, let's say, oftentimes can be like quite hyper masculine, like they're killers, right? So, how do you actually, and especially considering you're a coach, how do you actually like sort of have that respect?
I remember when I first started, commanding a room was massively difficult for me. Bearing in mind, I was never like the captain at football. I'm a naturally introverted guy that's sort of trained myself to become a bit more extroverted. So I'm not naturally a guy that likes to be the loudest guy in the room whatsoever.
Yeah,
Anything to do with like performing apart from fighting, I hated. Like dancing, singing, karaoke, anything like that, I could never do, right?
yeah,
But stuff like commanding a room, I really did struggle. But I've noticed doing it a lot of the time is you've got to find the line between being their friend and then also being their coach. You've got to find the line between with your girlfriend, even like being their friend, but then also being their boyfriend. You can't, as soon as you start being Mr. Jokey Jokey all the time, that's when they start being disrespectful. That's when they
mm,
start being a cunt back to you. Because
mm,
if I had a son, I wouldn't be like trying to be their best mate all the time. I'd just be like trying to be their dad.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? Because if you try and be like, oh yeah, I play Xbox with my dad all the time, that's when they start calling you a cunt. That's when they
mm.
start being a dickhead to you, you know?
Yeah, leaving the fridge unplugged and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, that as well. As well, yeah. I'm just thinking about how angry I am about them now. Yeah,
so
yeah,
so it's like a balance between obviously you're human, you want to get along with them, but also like there's a line there, and like ultimately, yeah, if you cross that. So say for example someone crosses a line with you and disrespects you, whether it's your girlfriend, whether it's a client, whether it's a lad in the gym, how would you actually just check that disrespect?
I think you just got to be proactive with it. I think
Yeah.
you've got to. I think you've got to, as toxic as it sounds, you've got to be a cunt first before they're a cunt to you. With it,
Mm,
whether it's with your girlfriend. When I say be a cunt, I just mean like be a bit more assertive, a
I
bit
know what you
more
mean.
like,
Yeah.
okay, get on with the drill now. All right, get on with this now. I'm sick
Yeah.
of talking about this now. Come on, let's get on with it. Because I'll be doing my sessions, by example. There's this one particular guy in my class who's been kicked out of many schools because he suffers with like behavior problems and anger issues and stuff like that. And I'm decent friends with him. I get on with him really well. He's one of my main sparring partners I always train with. But then at the same time, it gets annoying when I'm trying to teach my class and then he starts talking and he'll start like trying to make a joke in between everything I say, or he will look for my approval for everything, you know?
Mm,
So you've got to just sort of go like, come on, behave now,
mm,
you know? So it is, a lot of it is just about proactively not letting them get to that point in the first place. If you're
mm.
too much of the nicey, jokey guy, then they're just going to walk all over you eventually. You
Yeah.
can't be the class clown and the coach that has authority at the same time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. They sort of contradict each other. That's interesting, man. And like, yeah, but before we finish up, I think one thing which we kind of didn't really touch on, which is quite interesting, is how we actually met. Because I think it says a lot about like the modern day, and I think like so say specifically how we met. I think I joined your school community, right? Is that how it happened? And then you sort
Through
of messaged out to
YouTube, I
me.
believe.
Yeah, through YouTube. Yeah. So yeah, I remember watching some of your YouTube content. I liked it. I saw your school community. I think I hopped in there. I was like, why not? And I think we sort of met through there. And I think like again, we literally, which is pretty cool to be fair. I think a few weeks back, we literally you were on holiday near where I'm staying, and we literally met up and just sparred for like fucking 2 hours straight. It was class.
It was
So
good. It was a good day. It's kind of weird and a bit scary when we first did it because you just don't know like the difference between a call like this and what their mannerisms are like in real life and all that stuff. But
yeah.
it's a good feeling, and we both probably walked away feeling good. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, mate. I thought I learned so much from that. I thought it was sick, and as well. And like even in that, we literally just had like in between rounds, like a fucking 40-minute impromptu podcast, pretty much. So
yeah,
I was like, well,
yeah.
I knew this would bang, and it has. And yeah, is it? I think next week we're training as well, right?
Yes,
Next
it's not
weekend.
this weekend. It's the weekend after, isn't
That's
it?
the
Let me
one.
just. Yeah, no, it is. It
Yeah,
is.
it is, mate. So yeah, but I'll give you a good battering then, mate. Should be
All
a
right.
pleasure.
We'll
Yeah.
we'll get some of it on record. Like I say, I'll show you how this bastard works.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
We'll get some on record. We'll get some rounds in the ring. We'll get some like cage wrestling in, but this time the cage won't batter our back. I'm not sure about your
Yeah.
back after, but mine was scratched up from the
Yeah.
cage work.
Ankle bruises. Yeah.
It hurts, doesn't it, bro? That
Yeah.
exercise for less
Yeah.
cage.
I assume that was just like what all of them are like. 'Cause that was the first cage I've been in, but
No, most of the time they're not spiky, like going through your skin and that,
no,
you
no,
know.
no. Yeah.
But
But
yeah, we'll set it up.
mate, it should be sick. And like also like for the guys listening as well, oftentimes like you're quite geographically limited in your friendship groups. It's sort of like guys you just grow up with and go to school with. But oftentimes, especially as we grow and we sort of gain these unique interests, it's like we don't necessarily resonate with those people as much. Obviously, we're still boys with them and stuff, but I think like what I'd encourage personally is guys like authentically expressing themselves on social media and being proactive and being willing to like sort of just like you know what I mean, be willing to like meet up with someone for sparring even though you just had a call and like actually going out and messaging them because I think that is the sort of way to find like a brotherhood in the modern day and like find friends in the modern day who are actually like truly aligned with you. I mean, yeah. I mean, do you have experience with that?
I mean, that's exactly why I made the community in the first place, bro. It's just people just like me and you in there, man. Like people from America, different parts of Europe, like Spain, Portugal, all of these, like Netherlands, Germany. We've got over nearly 250 people inside the community now. So pretty much, I'm going Valencia soon. I'm going to meet up with some other bloke. Do you know what I
Sick,
mean?
mate.
It's like,
Sick.
it's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to go to his gym. He's got close relations to Ilya Toporia's coach.
Does
So
he?
I'm going to
Sick.
be training there. I'm going to be training there. And then there's this other place in Alicante, which I was going to go to originally, which is where my mentor's from. And then I was also going to go there to get some training in with somebody else from my community. So it's crazy. It's crazy how much you can do just from literally searching for it online, you know?
Yeah, and actually like trying to do it, man. So that's sick, mate. So if the people want to know more about you, want to watch you, where do they go?
Yeah, so on school, that community I was just talking about, it's called Size and Violence. I think it's the number three ranked combat sports community on the platform right now. It's
Sick.
about 200 and something in the sports category, which we're building up. We're not quite on like the pickleball school yet, but
No,
we'll
mate.
get
Yeah.
there. We'll get there. And then on Instagram, it's Shea Hammond underscore. I'll just send you all the links to it. And then on YouTube, it's MMA Shea.
Yeah, sick, mate. I'll put them all in the description as well. And yeah, mate. Like as always, gentlemen, we like to say a little prayer before we finish out. So if you're at home, just sort of like meditate on the words I'm saying. Just be quiet, sit in silence for a minute. So in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, we pray for the young men in this world and in Britain. We pray that the culture improves and we seek to make more of ourselves. We pray that they seek strength and they go to martial arts gyms. They learn lessons of humility and trial through adversity and grow as men. And we pray for the young men of the world in that regard. Pray for Shea and his family and his mission. Give him success on that. And we pray for the gentlemen and ladies watching as well. May the Lord watch over us. May Christ lead us. May Archangel Michael give us strength in battle. And may Mother Mary nourish our anima. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Dear Lord. Amen.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, mate. Yeah, so gentlemen, thank you for watching. God bless and keep trying.